Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Robert Allen, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Warrant Officer Cherie Thayers. We warmly welcome the family of Private Dick Richard Palmer, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family, visitors to the memorial, and students on behalf of Kelmscott Senior High School from Kelmscott, Western Australia. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is God by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Those requiring a seat, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Dick Richard Palmer. Dick Palmer was born around 1886 in Toowoomba, Queensland, to Frank and Elizabeth Palmer. He received his education at Emu Creek State School in East Greenmount, and he was a keen sportsman, competing in athletics tournaments and playing on the local football team. At the outbreak of war in 1914, he was working as a well borer at Coombs Station in Queensland's Darling Downs. Dick Palmer enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 13th of July 1915, having previously been rejected for service owing to a chest defect. He joined the newly raised 31st Battalion and after a short period of training in Australia, embarked from Brisbane on board the troopship Kyra in early January 1916. Palmer reached Egypt in February 1916 and transferred to the 47th Battalion during a period of expansion known as the doubling of the AIF. After training with his new unit, he embarked for France on the 2nd of June, destined for the Western Front. Private Palmer entered the trenches for the first time in July 1916, ahead of his battalion's first major battle at Pozières. German forces had a distinct advantage around the village of Pozières, holding the high ground which enabled them to launch devastating attacks on the advancing troops. The weight of artillery fire concentrated on that section of the front razed villages to the ground and sent many men mad from the constant sounds of shelling. Though faced with an incredibly dangerous and challenging task, the village was taken on the 5th of August, but at tremendous cost. Allied casualties of 42 days amounted to more than 23,000 killed, missing and wounded. In August, following the successful capture of the village, the Allies turned their attention to the ruins of Mouquet Farm, located in a strategically important position on the ridge extending northwest from Pozières. The cellars of the former farm had been incorporated into the German defences, making it a dangerous objective for the advancing troops. On the 10th of August, the 47th Battalion was under heavy shelling and gunfire at Mouquet Farm, where Private Palmer was hit and badly wounded in his right shoulder. He was transported to the nearby 44th Casualty Clearing Station and then onto hospital at Rouen to recover. Private Palmer rejoined his unit in October 1916. Like many, forced to endure the hardships of life on the Western Front, the bitterly cold winter of 1916 and 1917 took its toll on Palmer's health. In late November, he became ill and was sent to the 36th Casualty Clearing Station for treatment. Private Palmer's health worsened and pneumonia took hold. Days later, on the 5th of December 1916, he died at the Casualty Clearing Station. In Australia, his bereft family posted a notice in the local newspaper which read, "He's ever a hero, our boy who died, for his country, God and King." Dick Palmer was buried at the Healy Station Cemetery near Albert in France. He was 30 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Dick Richard Palmer, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.